Make it a point to spend 30 minutes at the wheel of a used Cadillac soon.
The Metropolitan is intended for the American market only.
The 1950s gave us some of the most iconic cars in history, but not every car was a winner. In this countdown, we're looking at the 10 worst American cars of the 50s that left buyers scratching their heads and designers wondering what went wrong. From bizarre engineering failures to downright absurd designs, these cars remind us that even the big names in the automotive world had their bad days. Let's dive in. Car number 10, Nash Metropolitan, 1954 to 1962. The Nash Metropolitan was the automotive equivalent of a teacup poodle, adorable, tiny, and completely impractical. Powered by a 1.2-liter engine delivering a meager 42 horsepower, it had all the speed of your grandma's blender on a good day. With a top speed that made bicycles look threatening, performance wasn't exactly its selling point. The quirks didn't stop there. Need trunk access? Fold down the rear seat because there wasn't a trunk lid. Handling felt like piloting a wobbly shopping cart, and its compact size made it look more suited for Barbie than the average American driver. On the upside, it achieved 30 miles per gallon, ideal for saving gas, as long as you didn't mind arriving much later. Priced at $1,469, around $16,000 today, Nash hoped to sell 200,000 units, but managed only about 95,000. Turns out, even in the 50s, Americans wanted more muscle than giggles. Still, the Metropolitan earned a special kind of charm for being so uniquely bad it's almost lovable. Almost. Car number 9, Packard Clipper, 1955 to 1956. The Packard Clipper of 1955 to 1956 was Packard's desperate Hail Mary, and sadly, it missed the mark. Once synonymous with luxury, Packard tried to stay afloat with the Clipper, a car that clipped its own wings in spectacular fashion. Under the hood, the Clipper featured a promising V8 engine that roared like it meant business, but delivered with all the finesse of a sputtering lawnmower. Its much-touted torsion-level ride suspension was revolutionary on paper, but felt like a trampoline when it failed, leaving drivers bouncing into disbelief. Reliability issues only worsened its reputation. At $2,700, around $29,000 today, the Clipper was stuck in a no-man's land, too bland to compete with Cadillac and Lincoln, and too pricey for everyday buyers. Packard aimed for over 100,000 annual sales, but barely scraped 54,000 in 2 years, as rust, peeling paint, and failing transmissions became unintentional features. The Clipper remains a cautionary tale that no amount of clever engineering can save a brand when the execution misses the mark. Car number 8, the Kaiser-Frazer Henry J, 1950 to 1954. The Kaiser-Frazer Henry J aimed to be the ultimate car for the everyman, but instead became the ultimate cautionary tale in cutting corners. Priced at just $1,363, around $15,000 today, it marketed as revolutionary, affordable transportation. In reality, it felt more like a budget-friendly prank on unsuspecting buyers. Features were, well, non-existent. The Henry J skipped essentials like a trunk lid, glove box, and even a key lock on the passenger door. Convenience? Who needs it when you have a car this bare bones? Under the hood, a 68 horsepower 4-cylinder engine delivered about as much excitement as a Sunday drive with the parking brake on. Design-wise, the Henry J was equally uninspiring. Its bulbous front and stubby rear gave it a cartoonish vibe that some called quirky, but most called ugly. Kaiser-Frazer envisioned millions of sales, but sold only about 120,000 units before the public collectively walked away. The lesson? Cheap doesn't always mean cheerful, but it sure can be entertaining. The Henry J may not have revolutionized anything, but it's a punchline worth remembering. Car number 7, Ford Edsel, 1958. No list of infamous cars is complete without the Ford Edsel, the poster child of overhype and underdelivery. Marketed as a revolutionary vehicle that would redefine the industry, it instead gave buyers a grille that looked uncannily like a toilet seat. If you've ever wondered what happens when car designers completely run out of ideas, the Edsel has your answer. Under the hood, the Edsel wasn't half bad, on paper. Buyers could choose between a 5.9-liter V8 with 303 horsepower or a 6.7-liter V8 delivering 345 horsepower. Unfortunately, all that power was sabotaged by shoddy build quality and a notoriously finicky push-button transmission awkwardly mounted in the steering wheel hub. Supposedly futuristic, it was more of a breakdown-prone gimmick that left drivers frustrated and mechanics busy. With a price tag of $2,400 to $3,800, about $25,000 to $40,000 today, the Edsel aimed to fill the gap between Ford and Lincoln Mercury brands. Instead, it fell into its own marketing void, too pricey for middle-class buyers and too bland for luxury shoppers. Ford predicted first-year sales of 200,000 units, but managed only 63,000, leading to an eye-watering loss of $350 million, about $3 billion today. Still, its quirky design and historic flop status make it a collector's dream and a perpetual punchline for car enthusiasts everywhere. Car number 6, Dodge Femme, 1955 to 1956. The Dodge Femme wasn't just a car, it was Dodge's unique attempt to woo women drivers by saying, "Wouldn't you love a car to match your purse?" And they meant it. The Femme came equipped with its own pink purse, lipstick case, compact, and raincoat, turning it into the automotive equivalent of a rolling makeup kit. Mechanically, the Femme was a standard Dodge Custom Royal with a 4.4-liter V8 engine producing a respectable 183 horsepower. It performed well enough, but the marketing, not so much. Decked out in pink and lavender paint with floral upholstery, it screamed department store display more than drive me home. Spoiler alert, women weren't impressed. Priced at $3,200, around $35,000 today, the Femme's ultra-niche appeal ensured its quick demise. Estimates suggest fewer than 2,500 units were sold before Dodge quietly pulled the plug after just 2 years. Today, it's a fascinating collector's item and a quirky reminder of how not to market a car. At least it proves the industry learned that women drivers want horsepower, not handbags. Car number 5, Crosley Hotshot, 1949 to 1952. The Crosley Hotshot might have been ahead of its time, but sometimes being a trailblazer just means you're the first to trip. Billed as America's first post-war sports car, it was lightweight, compact, and hilariously underpowered. With a 724cc four-cylinder engine churning out a whopping 26 horsepower, it was better suited to powering a blender than burning rubber on the road. Crosley did bring some innovation to the table. The engine featured a brazed copper and sheet steel design that was cutting edge, until it corroded faster than your patience at a DMV. Combine that with a tin can construction, great for weight reduction, not so great for crash safety, and driving the Hotshot felt more like a dare than a commute. Priced at $849, around $10,000 today, the Hotshot was affordable, and Crosley sold roughly 2,500 units during its run. While some drivers appreciated its go-kart-like handling and quirky charm, most found it more shot than hot. Still, its oddball legacy as a collector's curiosity reminds us that even the most eccentric failures can leave a lasting mark on automotive history. Car number 4, Hudson Jet, 1953 to 1954. The Hudson Jet is a classic example of how aiming for the stars can send you straight into a tailspin. Hudson wanted to dominate the compact car market, but instead, the Jet crash-landed with a stubby styling and a price tag that made buyers do a double take. Designed in-house after the company famously ignored its styling consultants, the Jet looked less like a sleek new compact and more like someone shrunk a sedan in the wash. By the time it rolled off the assembly line, it already felt like yesterday's news. Under the hood, the Jet wasn't half bad. Its inline-6 engine delivered up to 104 horsepower, which was respectable for its size. But at $1,745, around $20,000 today, it was too close in price to bigger, better-looking cars from Chevy and Ford. Buyers couldn't understand why they should shell out full-size dollars for a compact car with a squashed aesthetic. Hudson bet everything on the Jet's success, but it only sold about 21,000 units in 2 years, pushing the company closer to financial ruin and forcing a merger with Nash. Today, the Hudson Jet is a quirky piece of automotive history, remembered as a cautionary tale in mismatched priorities. It's proof that while functionality is important, 1950 car buyers craved style, and the Jet didn't deliver. It may not have soared, but its crash and burn legacy gives us a valuable lesson in how not to launch a car. Car number 3, 1954 Kaiser Darrin. The Kaiser Darrin was Kaiser's attempt to break into the sports car market, and while it looked innovative, it left many scratching their heads. The Darrin's signature feature was its sliding pocket doors, which were as unique as they were problematic, sticking and jamming at the worst times. Under the hood, the Darrin was powered by a 2.6-liter Willys F-head inline-4 engine, delivering 90 horsepower and paired with a 3-speed manual transmission. It featured a lightweight fiberglass body weighing just 2,175 pounds, which helped compensate for its lack of power. Design-wise, the Darrin's swooping lines and puckered grille stood out, but opinions varied wildly. Some praised its creativity, while others found it hard to take seriously. Handling was a mixed bag. It cornered decently for the era, but lacked the sporty feel its buyers expected. With a hefty $3,668 price tag, around $40,000 today, it was too expensive for a car that felt more like a novelty than a true competitor to European sports cars. Only 435 units were sold, making it a rare collectible today. The Darrin's brief run is a reminder that bold ideas don't always translate into big success. Despite its flaws, the Darrin's unique quirks give it a lasting appeal for collectors. The sliding doors, though impractical, remain a fascinating innovation. The car's rarity and daring design have turned it into a centerpiece for enthusiasts of 1950s automotive oddities. While it didn't make Kaiser a sports car leader, the Darrin's legacy lives on as an ambitious and charming misfire. Car number 2, 1953 Kaiser Dragon. The Kaiser Dragon was Kaiser's vision of luxury, but the execution landed closer to kitsch. Under the hood, it housed a 3.7-liter inline-six engine producing 118 horsepower, paired with a hydromatic 4-speed automatic transmission. It measured over 200 inches in length and weighed about 3,800 pounds, giving it a substantial road presence. The Dragon boasted unique features for its time, like a padded dashboard and advanced soundproofing, but these refinements couldn't save it from mediocrity. The Dragon featured a vinyl bamboo roof that was meant to resemble exotic leather, but instead looked like a cheap imitation. Inside, the dragon skin upholstery divided opinions, with its faux reptilian flair leaning heavily on kitsch rather than sophistication. Priced at $4,000, around $45,000 today, it struggled to justify the premium price over more stylish competitors like Cadillac. Only about 1,200 units were sold, and the Dragon disappeared after 1 year, remembered today as a quirky relic of misguided luxury brand. What truly set the Dragon apart was its bold attempt to stand out in the crowded luxury market. Its styling, though polarizing, exemplified Kaiser's willingness to take risks. Unfortunately, buyers were unimpressed by its aesthetics and underwhelmed by its performance. Today, it serves as a lesson in how execution matters just as much as vision, and as a prized oddity for collectors of 1950s automotive history. Car number 1, 1952 Nash Healey. The Nash Healey was America's first sports car collaboration with European flair, but its compromises made it an odd duck. Powered by a 3.8-liter Nash inline-six engine producing 125 horsepower, it was paired with a 3-speed manual gearbox with overdrive. The Healey weighed around 2,600 pounds and featured a steel body designed by Pininfarina. Its top speed of 114 miles per hour was respectable, but fell short compared to its more agile European rivals. Despite its lofty ambitions, the Nash Healey faced design and performance criticisms. Its heavy, awkward proportions made it look less like a roadster and more like a hybrid between a sedan and a boat. While it handled well for its size, the lack of raw power left driving enthusiasts cold. Priced at $5,908, around $65,000 today, it was outrageously expensive, and fewer than 500 units were sold during its brief run. The Healey did achieve one notable claim to fame. It competed at the 24 Hours Le Mans and managed to finish 4th overall in 1952. This race success gave it some credibility, but it wasn't enough to save its production woes. Today, the Nash Healey is a footnote in the sports car world, remembered for its international collaboration and for being an ambitious but flawed attempt to challenge the European dominance of the era.